right, Jacob and I are gonna go over here to the garden. Got to get all of the tarping out, the old plants, all that fun stuff. Jacob, say hi.
Hi.
So we're gonna go ahead and we got to take down. So if you look, we got the ends of the gardens here, one down there, one down there. We take the ends off so we can go ahead and actually till through here. We'll run the tiller through here, so we'll have some tillage going on this garden, and then we redo the plastic. So as we're coming up here, open up the gate. Of course, end of the season, everything's dead. Everything that's left is, you can see, all these plants. But now even the ties are starting to break, but I'll cut all the ties free. We'll move those over to the side. We got to roll up all of these black mats running down. We'll have to roll all those up, pull the dead plants, the stakes, all that stuff out of here, and then we will re-till this whole thing, put back in the mound system, which is here. It's got the water line underneath it. We'll get all that put in there and we'll get going. So what do you think, Jacob? Should we get moving? Okay.
Cut this one down. Daddy, I'm cutting this one.
Let me grab that one before you cut. Get this one out of here. I'll grab that one. Hold on to it.
Well, I can't move.
There you go. We'll put that over on the side. A lot harder than it looks, dude. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and put that by the fence, by those green posts over there.
You can barely do it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Down here, well, Jacob, why don't we go ahead and start pulling all these posts out of here? So you got to go to each one of these plants. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull all the posts out, all these little green stakes that are holding everything up. We'll get them all cleaned up next. Okay, so as you can see, we've got all the stakes out of here now. We'll grab that metal. We got to go get the tomato cages out next. What we're going to do now is we're going to go and we're going to remove all of these plants, at least get them all out of here. Reason being is this is inorganics. We could leave them, you could till them in, but the problem is that if you leave the old plant stocks inside of here, it takes nitrogen to make them decay. So the more of this matter that you leave into the soil, the more nitrogen you lose, which means we may end up putting in a supplement, which we don't want to do. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go down these rows, and pretty much all these plants that we can get, we're going to get. Some of the viney stuff we leave, it's not a big deal if you leave a little, but we try and minimize as much as we can because decaying process just kills nitrogen. If we can get this off of here and put in a pile and burn it, rather than actually sitting here and tilling it in, we're going to be better off. Plus, we got to get all that plastic out underneath there, and if them stalks are in there, it makes getting that plastic out really, really difficult. So once again, next step now is to go through and actually get rid of all of these plants and start pulling up. The tarps will follow that. Okay, so there's one thing I wanted to show, which is this. This is one of the roots from our peppers. And when we used to grow peppers and without this black plastic, these roots used to be really small ball. Just pull them right out. There's nothing really to them. Since we've gone to this black plastic, we're seeing these nice offshoots all over and these really good follicles or masses sitting around. This is really, really good. This means that this plant was extremely healthy, pulling really good soil. You can see really good root system underneath there. That's because of the soft soil, it's hot. These peppers do extremely well with that. So once again, we're seeing some really good root mass with this, and these are doing really well inside of this black plastic system that we've got going on here. As you can see, the cat's giving us a hand now. So there we go, we got everything cleared out of these rows. Still got to get the broccoli over here, and we still got to go down there. These are some cold weather plants that are still alive, but regardless, it's the end of the season. We got to get things done here in the next couple weeks, because in the next couple weeks things are just going to freeze, and once they freeze, we can't do any work until spring happens, because then it freezes for the whole year. So right now, the only thing that's going to be left is this row here, which is going to be our herbs. Those are all, I always get this wrong, perennials, so they'll come back next year. The celery is actually surprising. I did not think it was that cold hardy, but this stuff has held up to 22-degree nights, so doing fantastic. And the last one is kale. We'll probably pull the rest of this here this afternoon, and what we do is we actually give this to our chickens quite a bit, and then we use some ourselves. But usually this stuff is just our own, for ourselves, for our chickens. We've learned that over time that actually kale gives us some really good yolks and big eggs. Chickens are a lot healthier on it, and it's a substitute for feed. Once again, this year feed is really expensive, so anything we can do to substitute for that is a bonus without putting a lot of cost on us. So once again, that's all taken care of. These are the only herbs here that have died during the frost. Once again, this is basil. Basil doesn't do really well. All the rest of them are still looking really good, even at 22 degrees. So overall, everything's pulled out, and now next project is to start peeling up the plastic in the center rows. So we will get to that next. We'll start peeling that stuff across and get that off of here. So once again, I'm gonna go take a little break, possibly go until tomorrow. I might work down in the basement and get some stuff done down in there. But overall, that's where we're at on this project. Tomorrow we'll have a skid loader here. We'll start peeling that plastic up, and when we start peeling up that plastic, then we'll really be able to get in with the tiller and get in with the rower, start making some more mounds inside of there, and get everything ready for early planting next spring. So other than that, we'll be back with you later. There we have it. So there we have it. Everything's all cleaned out. Everything's all ready to go. All we gotta do is get the skid loader, clean out the rest of the plastic. We're gonna go see what Coley's doing. What are you working on?
I would like the pumpkins over by the house so I can peel them.
Oh, they're all the pie pumpkins?
Yeah.
So what you're gonna say is that you're gonna want me to put down the camera and move the pumpkins, is what you're saying.
I could use your hands, yeah.
All right. So, whole north side of the garden, we have a north side, south side. South side is the newer part of the garden. It's still got some of its soil that needs to be amended, some things need to be done. So we've got that going on. Walk over here real quick. So these are all the plants that we pulled out of here. So this is what we're gonna call our matter pile. Now some people wonder, once again, I'm gonna just go over this a little bit. People are gonna wonder why we don't throw this back into the soil. You know, why not just till all this into there? You know, it looks like a lot of plant matter, things like that. It should be good compost, right? And it will be good compost in 2 to 3 years. First year that this kind of plant matter is in there and breaks down, the bacteria that it causes makes nitrogen, and that nitrogen is pulled out of the soil and into the decaying of these plant matter. Then what happens is that bacteria dies, re-enriching the soil with nitrogen, and when that happens, then you actually can make the soil too rich if you have pockets of this material in there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it here, and you can see it right here in the pile, you know, and I've got it lined up perfectly with that pile of manure right there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take all this plant matter, push it into that pile, and that pile will get mixed several times over the next 2 to 3 years. And in about 5 years, we'll actually use that soil to put back onto here and continue to do the cycle. So that's why we don't put that in there, is we don't want all that nitrogen getting used up to break this down. We want to go to growing the plants in the garden. It's just a cycle, and that's how we need to be able to keep up with not adding any kind of fertilizers and things like that, because once again, we try and maintain the no fertilizers, make sure everything stays clean, and make sure that everything is going good. So right now we're down to the rows of plastic left on most of the garden. We got 2 more mats over here, but we're just bush today. That's a lot of work for today, so we're just going to call it quits on this for today. Tomorrow we're going to bring the skid loader over, and we'll use the fork or the rock bucket with the fork or the tines on it to get underneath the edges of this plastic and roll it up, and then we'll dispose of the plastic. This plastic is supposedly biodegradable, and it actually does. You know, the stuff over here is only a year old versus the stuff here, which is 2 years old, and this stuff is a lot more brittle and easy to take apart versus this, which is more stiffer. So we did discover that this plastic has about a 2-year, roughly about a 2-year lifespan on it, and after that it really does start to degrade. So this year we're redoing the whole northern part of this garden, and when we do that, we're going to have this thing done for 2 years probably. We're probably not going to redo it again next year. We might do more on the south end, just depends on what we put down there. But as of right now, the plan is this will become a 2-year fix again. It'll be switched, you know, we'll put tomatoes in 2 rows, we'll put peppers in 2 rows, and then the following year we'll flip-flop them rows like we did this time. So that's the game plan as of right now. Hopefully we'll see how that plans out and see if that works. Once again, this is our awesome pushing device, one of those things that a lot of farms don't have, but we do clear a lot of our areas, our fence lines and things like that. We do do a lot of pushing. So we do have a dresser TD15C. It's a nice little machine, has no problem pushing this stuff up. We would like to get, this machine's a little big. We used to have about a D4 before this. This is the equivalent of a D6 on weight, so we just can't move it with our trailers and things like that, which kind of is a downside or a limitation to it. But overall we still do use it here on this farm, and we do trailer it. We just got to get a low boy to move it, which sucks compared to just using our, you know, 350 in a trailer with a D4. So I don't know how much longer we'll have this one. We got some fence lines and some fields to clear, and after that we'll probably be getting rid of this and going back down to a smaller, either a John Deere 450 or probably a Cat D6 or D4 if we get to that point. So otherwise, that's what we got going on in the garden today. Like I said, today we're just going to call it quits. We're going to kick back in, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. We get the skid loader here, and we'll start pulling that plastic. Cleanup crew. They'll probably get a what? They'll get a day of getting everything they want out of that corner. So that's, once again, more bird feed. Look at them go on the cherry tomatoes. Nice and soft for them. All right, we are going out to the garden again. It's been about a week. We usually do a lot of this work on the weekend. We got one nice weekend here to go, so we got to get all the plastic out, get this tilled, and try and get everything ready for next spring. So here we go. He got rid of the mound of stuff. It's all got pushed back out into the pile there. Once again, it's got to decompose for a few years before it's useful, but we're just going to go ahead. And today the plan is, of course, to go through and remove all these plastic rows, get them all out of here, and then start tilling this. Might bring in some manure. I'll see if I can get the spreader up and running, spread a fresh black dirt on top of it, and when we get to that point, I'll explain what I'm doing on that point also. So we're just going to go ahead and go into normal fast time. We'll get this all ripped up.